Myself busy. I'm using my truck as a magnet. I'm gonna be sanding wood and all that fun stuff. Keeping myself busy while Kayla's inside making dinner. All that stuff. I'm prepping the wood for the ceiling on my school bus that I'm building. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the best smelling wood that's like at least readily available, in my opinion. Good old cedar wood from California. I'm just going to be sanding this wood down and coat it in some polyurethane and install it on the ceiling in my school bus, which I haven't posted any videos about the bus, mainly because I don't know what I'm doing with the bus. So it's hard for me to make content about something that I'm not knowledgeable in. But I'm sure one of these days I'll end up making a video about it. So right here is the wood that I'm dealing with. This is going to be the ceiling on my bus. It is just some tongue and groove cedar wood. This is actually, I believe, is meant for flooring, but I'm using it as the ceiling in my bus, and it's actually working out pretty nice. I'm trying to keep a Scandinavian kind of feel inside my bus because, my opinion, Scandinavian design and all of that is superior to anything else. So a lot of natural colors will be in my bus. I wish birchwood was more prevalent out here in the Pacific Northwest. We mainly have pine and cedar, a lot of softwood. Not saying birch is hardwood, but this is what we got. That is prefabbed into tongue and groove and such like that. But I would have preferred a birch wood, but it is what it is. So I'll be sanding this down. I have 3 things of these I need to sand down. And then tomorrow I will be prepping, not prepping, I'll be putting polyurethane to seal the wood in. So I'm just going to be sanding all of this wood today. I will be using a 220 grit sandpaper on my Milwaukee Random Orbital Sander to prep the wood. So if I really wanted to, I could do a kind of a 2-part process here. I have actually let me all right, so I'm on the fence about using 220 and 120. I'll go ahead and just do the 120 grit right now because some of this wood does kind of look a little tattered up. So go ahead and start off with that. But yeah, anyone that joins that has questions about OSINT, about cybersecurity or anything like that, getting a career in the field, just drop them in the comments. I don't see. I don't know if I can see comments in here. Chat viewing options, live chat. Okay. So only one comment so far, which is fine. I'll just be sanding this wood. Any comments that show up, I'll respond to. Don't mind the sound of the sander. Can't wait for this. This is my favorite smell in the world. Just raw cedar wood. Sanded cedar wood is just chef's kiss. Can't beat it. Can't see what I'm doing. Let's say you can't see what I'm doing, so let me just move that over. Maybe be a little less clumsy. You can kind of see what I'm doing. It's not that really matters that you can see what I'm doing, but whatever. Holy shit! You know, this is like I purchased this this wood from Home Depot, and it came in like packaging, and it is splitting like crazy right now. Like I'm not even like halfway done with this board right now, and it's like already catching on to some of the knots. Just kind of disappointing. You know, maybe if I just flip it over and I don't catch onto those knots, it's kind of annoying. A question come in. Let's see what it said. Try to view that. Let's see. Live chat. Try to break in cybersecurity. 2 years, all that. Holy fuck, this app sucks ass. Hold on. Let's see. Save highlight, add guest. Anything I could become a junior SOC analyst. Sucks. I'm seeing that right now. So I work at Starbucks, and we just hired someone with kind of like your skill set, and I'm mentoring them. Honestly, the best thing outside of like obtaining certifications and all of that is knowing people. That is probably like the biggest thing that I would say is the most important thing. So like attending like your local DEF CON meetups, DEF CON group meetups, being active on like my server, being active on my YouTube, LinkedIn. We've just at my local DEF CON meetup, we've helped a few people get like a true off the street into cybersecurity positions just because they knew people. So that's honestly like the big thing right there is getting your name known in some capacity. For me, like this YouTube channel does help out. I've been told a few times like a few people knew me before I knew them because of this channel. So my recommendation is if you're able to teach anything you know, regardless of your skill level, like if you're able to make content either through video format or GitHub, anything like that, that you know you convey in a way that is useful for other people, will go a very long way. So that's my best advice. Security is about who you know and not necessarily about what you know. Oh my god. This wood is driving me up the wall. I'm going to pull this aside. I've been chewing through some of my sandpaper. Got some lovely Costco Cabernet right there. No idea what the fuck it is. Woo! That. Oh, God bless it. That smells so good. Just raw cedar wood. I know I'm not supposed to fucking sniff it, but goddamn. If that was a drug, oh my lord, I would be addicted. Cedar wood is so cash money. So blessed. So happy I'm gonna have that in my bus. Just everywhere in the bus. It's gonna smell so fucking good. Like I said, if you guys have questions, let me know in the chat. I'll see it pop up and I'll come over and answer questions. But anything OSINT, anything cybersecurity, anything counter OSINT, protecting yourself from people doing OSINT on you and all that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to stand here and drink wine and sand cedar wood. Cedar wood. Cedar wood. Cedar wood. Let's see, we got a question. Counter OSINT sounds interesting. What are the top 5 best practices for counter OSINT? So, let me actually grab a light real quick because it's hard to see me. So give me one sec, and I'll talk about that. I have found light. Probably gonna make me look like a villain. Let's see. Depends on how I. Holy shit! That is a bright fucking light. Hold on, give me a sec. There we go. All right. Well, I can't seem to make it any undarker. Um, but the counter OSINT is interesting. So I haven't talked about counter OSINT, but basically measures you can take to protect yourself from being found and all that. So I think the first thing that anyone of risk should understand is you are findable. Uh, for me personally, like I'm totally aware that I'm not the hardest person to find online. Honestly, probably one of the easiest. Uh, so understanding that and building measures and countermeasures around that is important. So for me personally, I've had a few kind of scares in the past with people doxing me and all that. That's fine. I understand that my information is out there through data breaches, through government. Uh, I was a registered government contractor for a bit. So protections, anti-swatting lists, for stuff like this, working with your local police department to have something like that in place. So it's known like, hey, if you get a non 911 local 911 call or whatever it is for your area to this address, maybe call them ahead of time to see if something's going on. Obviously, protecting yourself physically against your threats. So I'm not going to say what I have, but physical attacks, you know, they are scary, but you can put measures around that, and you can do that wherever you live. Luckily, in the United States, you can have guns, but elsewhere, there are measures you can have in place. Any sort of weapons, knives, kitchen knives, things of that nature. You can go as far as like scrubbing your data online using pseudonyms. So, for me personally, I'm more worried about companies like LexisNexis collecting information and selling it to companies, and then getting disseminated and eventually ending up onto like open source forums where people that you know would actually do things like swatting and all that will get their hands on it. So LexisNexis is a data aggregator in the United States. You are able to submit a do not sell or a data removal with them. And if you're a California resident, you have I think it's called the CCPA, California Consumer Protection Act. I think that's what it's called. You can have your data removed. So that is one measure you can also take as well. And not using your real name. I think that's a good start as well if you are worried about, threats and all that. And another counter OSINT thing is it's not so much about the work you do personally. So like for me, like I don't put a lot of work into like removing my information from online. Like it's publicly out there. If you watch my content, you can find where I live. It's you know, uh it is more of like everything you do, but it's things outside of your control. So like your family, like moms, dads, grandparents, they're the ones that are going to spill the beans on you. And they're the ones that don't give a shit about OSINT and counter OSINT, and they don't know what that word even means. So, like, you might not have Facebook. Like, I don't have a Facebook, but, all it takes is your parents to share the same last name as you and upload photos of you and then tag you in the description as far as like your name goes, but not an account. Now you have like an affiliation right there. So I think a good counter OSINT thing is to educate family members of your threat profile and maybe not scare them into the consequences of them sharing things publicly, but getting them on board with like selecting the like the private feature like on things like Facebook. So counter OSINT doesn't mean anti-social media. It just means like knowing what you're putting out there and all of the risks associated with, having your family and such using things like Facebook and stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, it's just knowing information and what can be used against you, knowing who your threat act or your main threats are. So for me, like my main threats would probably be people swatting me, and any like financially motivated individuals with work. So just being aware and knowing what that is. So once you are aware of that kind of stuff, then like it's easier to spot it. If that makes sense. So good question. Let's see. I did not. What did that question say? You really sanding wood? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like a little chat right now. This is for the school bus I'm building for the ceiling. By the way, if you guys notice, I've changed the channel name from my like hacker handle to my name because I'm kind of floating the idea of posting content outside of security and OSINT, which might do y'all a disservice. Apologize, but I like to share knowledge, and there's only so much I could post that is entertaining, that is security OSINT related. But there's like a world of other stuff I could post, like curling. I could post building my school bus, the volunteer firefighting stuff, drones. Like, oh my god, I'm almost tempted to bring out my drone. Show you guys that. Let's see. Post whatever the heck you want. Yeah, exactly. I've floated the idea mainly because like I've built a small community with OSINT cybersecurity, but I also struggle to make content involving those two things only because OSINT is not a job of mine. It is purely a hobby. So it's hard for me to like share techniques and all that stuff without like actually being like a full-time investigator. And cybersecurity, I could talk about like getting jobs in security and all that and like negotiating a higher salary and all that. But I feel like there's already a lot of content out there with that. So I don't know. I can post that content, no problem. Oh, man, so good. Cedar wood is just like I said earlier, so good. I don't know if you guys saw, but Stoke Frederick, he's actually one of the guys that got me into creating my own YouTube channel. He appears to be quitting security. I don't know if that's what he meant by his like goodbye video, or if he's quitting making content. I'm not sure, but kind of hit home for me. I feel kind of the same way. Like it's hard for me to make content. It's really hard sometimes. Oh my god. I can't tell you guys how good this shit fucking smells. Oh my god. Cedar wood is honestly one of the best woods out there as far as smell goes. Probably shouldn't have breathed that in. All right. But yeah, like I said, any questions, security related questions about me, why the fuck I'm sanding wood on a security YouTube channel, any thoughts about what's happening in the world, feel free to ask. It is a open forum right now. I am just keeping myself busy while my fiance is making dinner. wine, scope. A little cedar wood in that won't hurt no one. Stoked for the snowboard season coming up. It's going to be in the 30s this coming week, or this week, I guess. It's Monday. So, winter is coming, ladies and gentlemen. I will be enjoying my season's pass at Snoqualmie Pass, which is mid-tier snow at best, but Alpental is passable for the price. So I'll be enjoying my time there. But in the meantime, taking on the hobby of mountain biking. I have a giant E-Talon bike, and then I bought my fiance an Aventon. So we were at Mount Rainier National Park yesterday in Carbonado, or just a little east of Carbonado, I guess. And I posted a short this morning, I think, of us on the Carbon River, which was kind of cool. You know, Mount Rainier is probably, I think it is one of the most visited national parks in the national park system. It's up there. I think the Smoky Mountains is number one. I think Mount Rainier, or I think it's Smoky Mountains, Grand Canyon. You know, I'm not going to count the Arches. It's not a national park in my opinion. Grand Canyon, and then I think one of them in Utah. I think Zion. Mount Rainier is in the top 10. We'll just put it like that. I'm like, now I'm thinking about like Yosemite and all that. But the entrance we went into was very secluded. You know, parking was abundant, and we probably saw 5 people in like the few hours we were there. It was really nice. Right on the Carbon River. If you go down to Carbonado, Washington, and follow, I think it's State Route 410 all the way down until you can't drive anymore. You'll see like a national park sign. Very nice. I loved it. 10 out of 10. I'd do that bike ride again. It was pretty easy, not complicated or anything like that. Let's see. I don't really have much to show you guys right now. I can show you my drone maybe in a bit. It is a pretty hefty boy. It's a Matris 210. If you're curious, you can look that up before I bring it up. DJI Matris 210 RTK. I have a XT2 thermal and a Zenmuse Z30 optical camera setup. It's a pretty expensive little drone setup. said, guys, any questions you have, feel free to ask. This is a prime time to ask me any questions in an open forum. Figured I would spend this time hanging out with you guys while I'm sanding wood versus just sanding wood by myself. So I have, I think, 20 of these to go. I have to sand 20 of these, and then I have to put polyurethane on 20 of them. So that process just, this is a very slow process on my school bus build. Very slow process. Which I'm sure some of you guys didn't even know I had a school bus. I'm building into an RV. But I am. Ask me questions about that whole process right there. Oh, hi, Rue. This is our neighborhood cat right here. Hi, bud. My neighbor's out of town, and I usually feed him right now. Hi, bud. Hi. 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 You want some food? Come on. Nah. Oh, there you go. I love that cat to death. Completely missed the trash can. Yeah, that little guy right there hunts rats, and he doesn't hunt the possums away. That kind of bugs me. I have possums that come on the property because I put his food in there, but he's befriended all the possums, and they like to go in there. Kind of pisses me off. Hunts anything but possums and other cats. Had a powwow. All the neighborhood cats because of you, dude. Let's see. Had a question pop up. Let's see. Live chat. Holy shit. I wish I could read this right now. The I for some reason I decided to do a chat where I can see or add other people, but I guess it just kind of sits like this, and when I like try to go look at the messages, it doesn't look right. See. I wish you guys could see like the chat that I'm seeing. It just looks like complete. I'll screenshot this and put it in my server. It's so hard for me to read this chat because it's like software gore right now. So I saw a chat come in. All I see is something beginner OSINT as an org. So if whoever posted that, because I can't see it because YouTube app is completely fucked right now. If you want to repost that, I'll answer that question. Hi. Hey, Rude. see. Are you using? Great question. And also thank you for reminding me to replace. I am using a two. Is this one a 220? I have a 220 and a 120 out. I looked at the sandpaper. I'm like, you know what? This stuff actually doesn't look great. I'm using a 120 right now. Yeah, I don't know why the stream, like the chat, it just gets garbled up. It looks like glitch text. I think that's what it's called. Any tips transition from vulnerability management? So, um, vulnerability management is actually like one of the few like areas in cybersecurity, in my opinion, that there just isn't like any certifications out there that like correlate directly into it. And that's what I work in. I work in VM. Um, an easy transition into VM would obviously be the closest like facet of security would be like application security. Um, but honestly, like VM, at the end of the day, it's like you have tools in place, like any facet of security. And VM's role in security is pretty. I guess it should be standardized. So you have discovery. So you have tools in place to like discover new assets. That would be kind of like a CMDB. So discover new assets, find novel ways to detect vulnerabilities. Uh, you know, so it's just like getting agents on hosts, scanning, all that. You have a triage. So like of all those findings, which ones actually matter most to the company, um, and then remediation, and then like a continuation of remediation. But as far as like transitioning into VM, like honestly, there if you don't have VM experience, it's kind of easy if you're anywhere in security to get into VM, because VM only like at the core relies on things like CVEs. Um, so it's other people's work as far as like finding vulnerabilities, and it's up to you to actually prioritize those vulnerabilities, because like most CVEs are pretty. I wouldn't say garbage because that's kind of rude, but most CVEs don't really have a ton of impact. So being able to like look at a vulnerability and be like, oh yeah, this is actually going to be pretty bad, versus like taking everything as it is and treating everything as critical. So if you already have experience, like taking that knowledge of red team and pen testing and like, hey, oh, this is a vulnerability in Exchange, like that's going to be a hot target for threat actors, um, and having that experience actually means a ton to a VM team, because a VM team is like the closest you could get to GRC without being in GRC. So if I was to go and like start over again and get into vulnerability management, I would start posting articles or like my inputs onto specific vulnerabilities to get my name known in the space. This is a really small space. Vulnerability management is very small. And become someone like Troy Hunt, or Catalan, that was part of the Record Media and ZDNet for a bit. Putting your own kind of take on vulnerabilities and the impact of them, and especially if you have that red team background, that is like invaluable to us. So like, yeah, the CVSS10 is not shit because of XYZ reasons. There's not a proof of concept, it's not a Metasploit, you can't scan for it, requires privileges, whatever the case is. I have my own hot takes about vendors publishing CVEs and then giving them like an inaccurate description as far as the severity of those vulnerabilities go. So there's a lot of areas you could kind of find yourself in vulnerability management to have like a significant amount of not say, but a substantial say in how a program is ran, or a substantial amount as far as like getting yourself a position on a VM team. Sorry, I'm just rambling at this point. Sorry. Oh my god, these go away so quick. Yeah, I can't fucking see that for some reason. All right, I'm gonna end the stream and then I'm gonna create a new one because this chat is not working out for me. So I'll be right back.